Hello and welcome back to the Sideboard. My name is Ruben Bressler and I'm here with Caleb Durward, who is already a champion today of the Standard Open.
Correct.
Looking to go back-to-back, which would be nice.
That'd be great.
And you here at the Legacy Open are battling with Elves. Tell us a little bit about Elves.
Elves is a very consistent deck. It has a consistent turn 3 kill. It's very powerful. It casts Glimpse of Nature and uses that as a sort of like, well, it's better than an Ancestral Recall. You basically draw your entire deck, and then you attack your opponents with many large creatures. Mirror Entity makes them all whatever size you want them, and then you kill them. There's a few different infinite combos in the deck, but generally you don't even need them. Your opponent will just scoop once they realize that you have an insurmountable board position.
Now, it's mostly green mana, but of course the white mana is for Mirror Entity. Talk about a little bit why Mirror Entity is the best kill for Elves.
Mirror Entity is fantastic. Sometimes you just have a Gaia's Cradle, and your creatures don't have a draw engine in them, and you just draw a Mirror Entity, and you're like, oh, they're all 10/10s, kill you, like out of nowhere. It's the best top deck in the deck. It's just incredibly powerful. It also creates a few different infinite loops in the deck. Like if you have Mirror Entity, Priest of Titania, Wirewood Symbiote, for example, assuming the Priest of Titania doesn't have a summoning sickness, 1 mana will make the Mirror Entity and the Wirewood Symbiote both Elves. So the Priest can tap for 3, you bounce the Wirewood Symbiote with its own ability to untap the Priest, replay the Symbiote, use a mana for Mirror Entity, and you have 1 more mana than from where you started. There's a few different combos, that's the simplest one.
I've been talking with some friends of mine about Elves, and it's surprising how people don't really know how to combat Elves. Have you been running into that fact that people don't know what part of the combo they want to fight, or taking out the wrong creature, or things like that?
I have run that in the past. Like, I'd play a turn 1 Heritage Druid, and have my opponent Force of Will themselves, like 1 green Hymn to Cherokee, pretty much just like the best spell ever.
Sure.
But in this tournament, most of my opponents have been pretty competent. I had a Goblins opponent double Pyrokinesis me, which I then won through with a Scavenging Ooze. My Ad Nauseam opponent knew when he had to combo off to try and kill me, and then that forced him to fizzle, which let me win that match. My last round opponent, Joe Bernal, was boarding Parishes as well as having Zealous Persecutions and Pile of Plow effects.
Sure.
So most of my opponents have been prepared for Elves. I'm just running very well.
Right. But up until very recently, Elves had sort of fallen off the radar. It sort of wasn't that big, and then Christopher Anderson took it to a couple of good finishes.
Yes, that's his fault. Blame him,
it
not
is,
me.
Blame Christopher Anderson for the popularity of the Little Green Men. Now, another thing that adds to the consistency of your deck is crop rotation, which I see you're main decking 2 of, which is a change that I honestly hadn't seen until maybe last week. Talk a little bit about crop rotation.
Sure. Crop rotation helps you combo faster. You can more consistently get to Gaia's Cradle. It also gives you more combat tricks with Pendelhaven, that sort of thing. You usually don't, it's not as dead of a draw as an extra land in the mid game because you can get a Horizon Canopy and draw and keep going. The reason I went up to 2 for this tournament instead of just 1 is because I included a tutor package in the sideboard, including Karakas, Pajuka Bog, and Maze of Ith, to bring in against wherever they're applicable.
Yeah, you have a very interesting sideboard. You mentioned your land package. You've also got several artifacts in your sideboard. Talk a little bit about your artifact package.
Thorn of Amethyst and Thalia go together. I've seen 3 Thorns before. I think the 2-in-1 split is just better, simply because you can turn the Thalia into a elf with Mirror Entity when you're going off, and tap it with either Heritage Druid or Birchlow Rangers. And it attacks for 2, so I think it's better than the 3rd Thorn of Amethyst, but the 2nd Thorn of Amethyst is better than another Thalia because they're legendary and you want multiples preferably. The Umezawa's Jit comes in a variety of matchups. It's good in the mirror match, it's good against Maverick, it's good against other decks with Jit in them because it basically meddling mages the opponent's Jit, because Jit can be good against Elves, and then it also gives you a proactive win off of it. Meekstone is interesting. It's mostly for Rug. the way Rug beats this deck if they do is playing an early Delver and then just riding it to victory. Meekstone will just stop that. I only have one because usually you can fire off a Glimpse of Nature and then draw into either the Wind or a Meekstone if you fizzle out. It's not necessary to have a ton of them, and I also bring in one Humility in that matchup. It does a similar thing as Meekstone. It costs more, but it's just there for redundancy.
Yeah,
and then Mortar Pod is an answer to Grim Lavamancer. It's also good against the Elves Mirror. It's good against a lot of decks. I bring it in against Dredge.
Random Peacekeepers and
sure,
things
Peacekeepers.
like that.
I've never seen that. But,
Sure, well,
but yes,
just thinking of things that you would want to get rid of.
Right.
So you've got these two Humilities. Is that a nod to the Gristlebrand decks?
It is a nod to the Grizzlebrand decks. They cast Show and Tell, you put in a Humility, they put in an Emrakul or a Grizzlebrand, and then you kill them with 5 1/1s or something, and they have 1/1.
Nice.
1/1/1, and they are very sad.
Now, you're currently 5-0 in the tournament.
Currently 5-0.
Is there anything about the deck that you would change, having seen what the field looks like? Or is this the 75 that you would run?
Yeah, it's tuned for this meta, I think appropriately so. So
yeah, so if you're looking for a deck that you think is going to be powerful in your local legacy metagame, you should definitely try Elves out. Take it from Caleb Durward.
It's good against Rug, Maverick, blue-white concoctions, other creature decks. It is bad against Reanimator, and that's about it.
Excellent, and with Reanimator sort of falling off the radar, this is definitely a good pick.
Correct.
So that's it for the sideboard. My name is Ruben Bressler.